We're here at KingCast.net, and I've been following this paternity/child support case for 5 or 6 years. Let me tell you the cast of characters. That's Adam Klein. He is, among other things, a convicted felon, but we'll get there in a second. But his daughter says that he's a deadbeat dad. Okay, that's her own assessment. That's his first daughter, by the way. Now, this young lady here is young enough to be his second daughter, but she's Amy McCormick. Just settled a lawsuit with him for sexual harassment at eMusic, where he's currently employed. He's also a felon. Okay, here are the indicators from South Africa. It involved an embezzlement scheme of some sort. Several $100,000 was involved. So that's a little bit of the background on him. Basically, he stopped paying pursuant to an agreement that was had with this lady, Daralyn Khan, who you see in Better Times. She's the mother of Keaton, who's now 21 years old. And at any rate, you see her in court today. She broke down discussing the fact that he said that he wanted her to have an abortion when she told him that they were pregnant and that they've been dating for months, and that was the result. So anyway, let's come into today's trial. All right, then, as we head back to court, there are a couple more players to identify. That's opposing counsel, cross-examining Ms. Khan right there. He's defending that man, Eric Karp, the lawyer who drafted the agreement that Dr. Klein stopped paying after 6 years, and allegedly he committed malpractice. Now, that's his expert witness, Fran Giordano. I expect her to testify along lines that may actually implicate Jeffrey Denner, one of Ms. Khan's prior counsel in this matter. Now, I've had my way with Jeffrey Denner back when he had provided ineffective assistance of counsel, and I opened the door on that one, exposed it, and helped the young man get paid, actually. And when I was Boston Bob. And anyway, let's not go there. Let's go back to this case. This here is Stephen Kuzma. Now, I know Attorney Kuzma. I don't know Attorney Giordano, but I have seen Attorney Kuzma win a couple of million-dollar cases a couple of years ago as co-counsel. So he's a competent attorney. I'll see what he has to say. I don't know what he's going to say. I do predict it will probably mirror the affidavit that was introduced today, written by Eric Karp, in which he clearly indicates the intent of the parties, and the intent was as Ms. Khan contends. That's it for now.
I'll start again. Please describe the steps that you took in attorney action to determine whether Dr. Klein was Keaton's father.
As I mentioned, I hired an attorney, and they told me that there had to be blood tests done. So that we would.
No, the attorney told her she hired an attorney, and what happened?
And what happened then?
The blood tests were done, and they were positive that Dr. Klein was the father. And
what happened then?
Dr. Klein contested the positive test and demanded another test.
And what happened then?
The test came out 99.9999%.
Objection, Your Honor.
Dr. Klein acknowledges Ms. Khan's exemplary role and conduct as a parent of Keaton.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't see where she's reading.
Counsel, if I might.
Okay.
How much did you understand you were to receive in indirect child support for lessons, extracurricular activities, private school, uninsured benefits on an annual basis?
Objection.
What's the objection?
For understanding. Fully agree.
That's why we're here. This is her understanding. The question is, what was her understanding?
Then it was my understanding from the explanation of my attorney that Dr. Klein's responsibility was $23,000 a year as a base until my daughter was emancipated, and that after 3 years, the first 3 years, when she got to be 9 years old, that would increase by his contribution of 50% of the expenses above $23,000, so that he would pay the base of $23,000 every year. After 3 years, he would increase it by half of the overages, and I would pay the other half of the overages above and beyond $23,000.
Now, who provided the type, for a second, who provided that language?
You know,
And do you recognize Attorney Karp's handwriting?
Yes, he said you don't have it.
Did you inform Dr. Klein that you were pregnant?
Yes.
And what was his reaction?
He told me that I'm important.
What did you do then?
I cried.
After you got done that, what did you do?
I told him that I wanted to keep the child.
Now, do you need a woman?
I'm sorry.
May I approach you on?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Once again, it is you, as a judge of facts, who will determine whether Attorney Karp's conduct was a breach of the standard of care, and whether that breach constitutes negligence of the GSO, paid in accordance with its terms, although generally late. Eventually, Dr. Klein stopped paying the indirect child support that's detailed in Section 3. In 2004, Ms. Khan went back to court, at this time appearing pro se, and pro se means without a lawyer, and tried to get him into a payment status again on, once again, the indirect child support items under Section 3. The court proceedings went on for 8 years until Keaton was emancipated. Keaton became emancipated by graduating from college, or excuse me, completing college in December of 2012. Now, Ms. Khan, in our position, did not get her money's worth for what she paid Attorney Karp, and she had to pay other lawyers after she started into this 8 years of litigation to try to help her fix things. I could be much more detailed in my description of the proceedings, but I want to save something for the evidence. So, you don't just sit there and say, well, I know what this is all about. We have a few other things to say. Now, Ms. Khan had losses, and I say losses because you will, as a judges of facts, determine whether these losses are damages that she's entitled to collect. Now, Dr. Klein did not pay the base amount of indirect child support for 8.5 years. That's $23,000 times 8.5, which is $195,500. Obviously, there's a $12,000 she paid to Attorney Karp, and then she paid almost $25,000 to other attorneys who helped her or tried to help her through this
trial in your attentiveness. I represent the defendant, Eric Karp, who has practiced law in Massachusetts since 1977. The evidence that you will hear in this trial will show that his representation of the plaintiff, Daralyn Khan, was not only competent, it was exemplary, it was patient, and it was vigorous. He worked under very challenging circumstances, with a client who the evidence will show did not follow his advice. The evidence will show that Attorney Karp obtained an excellent result for his client, much better than she would have gotten if she had gone to trial. And the evidence will further show that if anyone is responsible for the plaintiff's alleged losses or damages, as Mr. Reinhardt calls it, it is the plaintiff herself.